We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 80 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. 80. It's like an infinity sign sideways and then a black hole, which is topical if you've been anywhere near the internet in the past 2 weeks. On this week's episode of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, we're going to talk about Hellboy. I don't know which one yet. I'm going to find out in a minute. I imagine one probably came out recently.
Yes.
But, yeah.
ESO, or SEO.
Exactly. There you go. See? I should know better. And then we're going to talk about what we watched this week in a segment that we are still calling WWWTW, even if it's only internally. So,
I stand by it.
Hellboy, starring Lou Ferrigno, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that's who it is.
That would have worked as like an older Hellboy.
He was busy.
Probably.
This is Dan Harbour. Dan Harbour? David Harbour.
David Harbour.
Not Dan.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound right.
I was like, it's a D name.
Yeah. That was
David.
It's
that was
David
Carterism.
Harbour's like older brother, Dan.
Absolutely.
Slightly less muscular, slightly
Yeah.
shorter.
Bald.
Sounds like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, pretty much. Ugh, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito as Hellboy. I think we just recast a beautiful
Hell Kid.
thing.
Hell Kid.
Hellman.
Where he just walks around eating mayonnaise the whole time.
I don't get that reference. I'm going to be honest.
Hellman? Like Hellman's mayonnaise?
God, okay.
Come on, man.
I was thinking of like a movie that he was in that was a bit he did in another movie, and I'm like, I don't think he did that when he was the Penguin.
I make original jokes sometimes.
That's fair. It
Not
just
often.
went over my head. It was over my head.
Sometimes.
But the new Hellboy, Andrew, you told me you liked it, right?
It was pretty good. It had a lot of shit that was over the top and unnecessary. However...
Are you talking about the gore mostly?
Yeah, I'm talking about the gore. That's about 200% more than I needed.
That's fair. It was rated R in their defense.
Yeah, but it wasn't like quality gore.
That's fair.
Like, it all looked super fake.
Yeah, spoilers for anyone
his-
listening.
Yeah, spoilers. His fight scene against the Giants
Yeah,
was just terrible CGI.
That was, yeah, like, especially when he was getting thrown around. Like, I liked the way it was shot. Like, the fact that
like
you,
the
like, follow
constant
him.
moving. Yeah.
That was cool. But I didn't particularly... Yeah, they could have spent a little bit more money on that. But it did have a pretty low budget, again. But
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be making it back. It did not do very well.
Story-wise, I really liked it. I really appreciated the story.
I'm still in the middle about that.
I do feel like, spoilers, again, the King Arthur arc is a cop-out for every franchise that just uses it. Like, oh, Excalibur meant this, or King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table meant this. Like, I feel like it's just such a cop-out.
And that's where I'm like, that's where I get a little, like, I'm not sure if I...
However,
I'm very in the middle about the movie.
I do
because
like
of
that they tied it in just so we could pull the sword out of the stone and get his horns, because I fucking loved the horns.
I love it whenever he gets his horns. That's always a cool thing.
And when he breaks them off, oh baby,
That's
I
always
love
a great
that.
thing too.
I wish they had used his hand for something though. You know, the right hand of God, other than just smashing shit. Like I would have liked it, kind of like the Ron Perlman first one, where it's a key. I loved that.
Yeah, it would have made sense if maybe it unlocked the thing to him to get to Excalibur. That would have been cool. But
like if it was like in the King Arthur's tomb or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe we should give a little context to Craig about how King Arthur fits into this.
Yeah, I know nothing about Hellboy at all.
So yeah, Hellboy is just somebody who, this demon who came from was summoned from hell by Nazis, but then, those Nazis didn't get to keep him because some good guys came and got him. And then he was raised by
Indiana Jones so far.
A little bit.
He's saved by the lobster.
That I did like as an addition. I have no idea if that's like a comic book thing or not.
I have no idea either. It was so over the top.
I was just like, okay, that I was okay with.
I'm on board.
You guys aren't
brand lobster claws onto people's head.
You
Why
guys
not?
aren't joking?
No.
No,
It's a World War. Well, shit, I guess it was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Nazis. That makes sense. World War II fighter pilot who was also like / vigilante superhero. He would brand a lobster claw on people's foreheads, so when they died and went to hell, the devil would know who sent them.
He was a lobster. His name was
the
Lobster.
Interesting.
Yeah, he shows up twice in the movie.
Yeah.
So they made up. Well, I assume they made up some really, really badass, but still kind of weird character, and only used him twice.
I think they're using him for the potential of a sequel.
I was going to say
were
that
to make a
sounds like
sequel,
that sounds like a spin-off series.
I would probably watch that if it was like an Amazon Prime series or something. I would watch that.
A procedural, where it's just the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, with different characters.
Yeah, I'd watch it as long as the lobster was there.
Well, that'd be the whole idea. Better than the vulture.
Yeah, that's true.
We spent a lot of time on the lobster. We spent more time on the lobster than he was in the movie. I'm just gonna point that out. I'm just gonna point that out right now.
I did like in that scene though how they showed the guys from like the other Hellboy movies. And I know they're main characters. However, I did like that where they're like, "Oh, there's that fucking disgusting sand guy." Ugh.
Yeah, the sand dude from. Yeah, I like that. Like, I liked getting that quick scene.
Yeah,
I like that his dad is Ian McShane.
Ian McShane. Oh, I love him.
Guy.
He can do no wrong.
Literally,
I don't care
no
what
wrong.
he's in. Like everything he's in, he's a fucking dick, and I love it.
Yeah,
he
great.
plays the perfect asshole.
Yeah,
like even in that Hercules movie, where he plays, I forget his name. I want to say it's Daedalus, but that doesn't sound right. Anyway, Hercules' buddy, who's seen his own death. I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna IMDb this because I gots to know. But anyways, even in that where he's like the wise mentor, he's still kind of a dick. Like he just got that snarky attitude about him, and I think he's been around long enough that he deserves it.
Yeah, and you can just respect him for it. Yeah, I liked him. Again, spoiler, I didn't like that they killed him off, but I think that's, again, one of those...
I think that, yeah.
That's like not killing Bruce Wayne's parents off, so it's like, okay, fair.
Because they kill him off in the first Hellboy with Ron Perlman, too.
Yeah, but I didn't like, no offense to William Hurt, I believe it was? Yes? No? Is he the one in...
Whoever... I know it was the guy who played Ollivander in Harry Potter. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think his last name is Hurt. His first name, I'm not sure
Amphiaraus, that's his name. Amphiaraus. Yeah, it is John Hurt, because he was in the Hercules movie, too.
Yes, yeah, I said William.
Yeah.
Those are different.
It was John Hurt. Yeah, he was in the Hercules movie I'm looking up right now. Small World.
Well, yeah, so like he was killed off in the first one, but I don't have as much of an attachment to him as I did Ian McShane. But yeah, the one scene where they bring him back actually after he died, that was disturbing. That was a little bit. I could have maybe done without that last little bit. What did you think of the lady who vomited up dead people?
That was super sketchy.
That was just. It
made me very uncomfortable, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
That and I can't remember her name. The super creepy chick who ate kids' hands and feet.
Oh, like the witch chick.
Yeah, it's a name I'd heard before.
The one who was missing the eye. Who wanted Hellboy's eye?
Yeah.
She was super creepy. I could have done without that too.
However, for me, it was like the weird contortion shit she was doing.
Oh, that was
because contortionists make me extremely uncomfortable.
I can understand that. I get that too. It's like, I get your body can do that, but maybe you shouldn't do it with that.
Yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm still having iffy feelings. The King Arthur thing is the one that threw me the most in the whole movie. Just the fact that they throw King... Like, I liked that they had him in as, like, the one who cursed the queen. as the Blood Queen originally. I don't like that they brought it back as Hellboy being King Arthur's great grandson. That part I could have maybe done without.
Yeah, that was an unnecessary squeeze in, kind of like making Mark Wahlberg like an ancient relative of one of the Knights of the Round Table. Yeah. However, I do kind of like the idea of his mom just being this chick who bones a demon and then flies around on a dragon. I like that idea.
That's fair. Like, that part, that I always assumed. I assumed his mom had sexual relations
with a demon.
With the demon.
With the Satan or some shit.
That's why he's Hellboy, right? So that I always assumed. I didn't know she was related to King Arthur, though. And I don't know if that's a comic book thing. Like,
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, he's probably one of the fact that he's had 3 now movies made about him. I know the least about him from the comic books. So
I've only seen him on video stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have a couple of animated, like, full-length movies, and then I have the 2 with Ron Perlman, and this one.
Yeah, and I'd say this one's probably the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. However, I still did enjoy it. Like, if they got rid of the gore, I would have been like, you know what? This movie was a solid 7.8. It was good enough. It was worth me seeing it, but it's not something I'm gonna rush out to see again. I'm gonna own it. Let's be real. But the gore is what turned me away. But breaking off his horns at the end, the same way Ron Perlman did in the first one, it won me back.
That's fair. I did like that. I didn't mind how it actually ended off. Kind of was open-ended enough that it's like, okay, if they don't do a sequel, I can imagine where they go from there. There's no big threads left open, which I liked.
All they really did was show you what's his name? The sapient guy.
Yeah, like they hinted to that, but it's also like
they show his hand and show like the word sapient, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just a little nod, which I like that's all we got of that character too. Like, they didn't spend too much time trying to like build up a sequel, but I don't know. It's a little bit forgettable is the main way, because I'm trying to think what to say about it, and I'm mainly stuck on the King Arthur stuff because I'm still just like, when it happened in the theater, I was like, I was dumbfounded. I was just like, what? Oh, okay, this, like, I guess I get it because you got to connect it back, but why? that's where I landed at the end. It was like, well, why does it have to be related?
Yeah, it felt like a movie that they were like, you know what? We want this to compete. We want this to be part of like a major cinematic universe. And I'm very, very okay with that. But it also feels like they kind of rushed it in.
Oh,
where they were like,
there was
okay,
so much in this too.
Let's get this going. The movie never stops.
Yeah, one good thing is it's very fast paced, so you get through the 2 hours. Like, you don't feel them. But it's also because they don't have a moment to rest. He's literally just going from everything to everything. He doesn't sit except for when he gets in a car a couple times, but that's limited, So it's like, there's a lot going on, so it's like it's hard to keep track of a little bit. Like, I did a review for this, like a review video for this, and I did that an hour after watching it and trying to write my notes. I was still just focused mainly on the King Arthur thing. That King Arthur thing has thrown me for a loop. I need to go read the comics to find out if it's from that or like the Wikipedia page,
or if they just like grabbed it and went.
Yeah, if they just were like, okay, well, we threw King Arthur as the way to throw her origin for the Blood Queen in. If they were like, well, it's just
I get that they needed some type of historical object to seal her. Yeah, I like that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why they had to go the King Arthur route. That seems like a stretch, unless it's from the comics. Don't know.
If it's from the comics, then I'm like, okay,
I agree.
Fine.
That's where they lose me, is that it has to be a King Arthur thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it could have been any, like, a blessed sword that,
they literally could have made
like the Knights Templar used, or
it could have
something.
Just been King whoever, and it
like,
like, okay.
Or,
whatever.
like, actually, now that I think of it, I feel like Medusa would have been a pretty sweet rewrite. There we go. I could not say that word. Rewrite. Have it, like, as Medusa, not the Blood Queen.
Yeah.
Like, Medusa, like, the the Demigorgon type thing.
Mm-hmm.
and then have it like with whoever the hell it was it Perseus who cuts her head off, or Percy? It was Perseus. Cuts her head off and then has to use it to freeze the Kraken. Like, that would be pretty sweet if it had to be like the sword that cut her head off originally. Like, that's what he had to use.
Then he would just have to find that, and it would just require his skills in order to get to it.
And in order to get to it, he has to put his hand into the thing, and then boom, horns that he gets to break off, because it's so good. Got me so pumped.
Yeah, but we didn't get that movie. We got King Arthur.
We got King Arthur with Hellboy. And I'm going to say it, I like David Harbour.
Yeah, he was great as Hellboy.
I like him in kind of the anti-hero, or like the just kind of really dark douchebaggish role, because that's pretty much everything I've ever seen him in. But I felt like I was watching him act. I wasn't watching him as Hellboy.
I was
watching him act. Like, everything he said was kind of like, duh! Like, that was his voice for most of the movie. Yeah. I'm on your side! Like, that was, like he was trying to do a Seinfeld impression the whole time.
I feel like maybe that was just his attempt at lowering because he's got a deep voice normally, I believe, from, like, interviews I've heard. So maybe that was just him.
Well, his voice seems even deeper, like, in interviews than it was in the movie.
That's what I'm saying. So I think for the movie, he was trying to put, like, a less of a tone on his voice, so that, like, less deep tone on his voice, so that it sounded more like a Hellboy as opposed to Hellboy old man.
Hellman. Yeah. However, Ron Perlman's was super fucking deep.
Yeah. Well, that's where you fall into a weird thing with Hellboy, because it's hard to tell what age he's supposed to be. So it's like when we meet Ron Perlman's Hellboy, you both get the impression that he's Ron Perlman's age, but also it's like, well, timeline-wise,
that math doesn't add up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, and then this one, it's kind of the opposite, where it's
this one, it's almost like he ages super slow.
Yeah, which would make sense for, like, the
just like Ian McShane.
Yes.
Who ages like a day for every year he's alive and still dies.
I want that.
Even though he was cursed to not die until Hellboy died. That's a plot hole.
Yeah, that's supposed to be, like, resolved.
He was cursed to not die until he killed Hellboy. Was he not? Is that not what that crazy psycho ghost bitch said?
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, about that.
Man, the more I talk about it, the more holes come up. The sadder I get, because I want to like this movie so much.
No, I know what you mean. I went in with, like, the hope to enjoy it, and then I was kind of like, I came out and I gave it a very, like, when I did my review, the YouTube review, I just gave it, like, a very middling. I was like, this is, like, I can't tell people to go watch it unless you're curious. But other than that, maybe wait or don't, you know? Because I was just like, it's...
Yeah. If you want to go see it, go see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to tell you it's the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's not.
Definitely is not.
So many worse movies.
There's so many that I've paid good, hard... Okay, maybe not hard-earned money. That I've paid money towards and left being like, what the shit was that, men who stare at goats? What the fuck is going on here? So I definitely say that this one was pretty good. It was Baba Yaga.
Oh, that's who she was. Okay.
That's the name, Baba Yaga.
Yeah. Yeah, she was creepy.
However, I still stand by the fact that it sounded like it was David Harbour trying to do, or Dan Harbour, trying to do a Seinfeld impression the whole time.
It was a little bit of that.
Look at these fingers!
I'm on your side!
That was Andrew doing an impression of Frank Caliendo and doing an impression of Jerry Seinfeld, just so we're all...
Well, Craig, you just let the cat right out of the bag!
Best Frank Caliendo bit. Are you drinking out of a bowl?
No, this is a giant-ass teacup, thank you.
Looks like a bowl.
I have 6 of these. I love them. They're perfect for soup. However, also tea.
Does it fit a gallon, or...?
Half gallon.
Half gallon, okay.
Half gallon. You didn't know you could buy tea in half gallons, did you?
That's about 1 3/4, just a little over 1 3/4 liters for those of you who can't translate that themselves.
Here we go. I just Googled Baba Yaga. And she sounds terrifying. Also, I feel like she was on Smallville for some reason.
I feel like that it sounds very familiar, that she's probably popped up as, like... a name they've taken and like, oh, this is a witch we can slap a name onto.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Or like, I feel like I've heard Oliver Queen say it at some point. I don't even know why, but it sounds like something Stephen Amell would say in his really deep, raspy Oliver Queen voice.
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
That wasn't really good at all.
Nah. Baba Yaga.
That was a little bit better.
I don't know.
Anyways, do we have anything else to say about Hellboy?
Go see it if you want. The super cool leopard werewolf thing was intense. Underutilized.
Yeah.
But intense.
I could have used him more in the movie, not the last. Especially considering they've teased it in the trailer already, so
Yeah,
it's like,
I was like waiting for it.
Yeah,
And then
and-
they used it for like 2 minutes to kill the giant bull thing.
yeah. And he was mainly a distraction, actually.
Yeah. He was just there. And then what's her face killed
Yeah,
him. So
exactly.
go see it. Just do it. I think who drafted this? Did anyone
hope
draft
none
it?
of us, for all our sakes, I hope none of us did. Cause
Well, I'm gonna go find this out.
I
Craig, you haven't talked much. Let's start what we watched this week.
Oh, we're doing what we
What
watched.
did you watch?
That doesn't mean I'm gonna talk more. I actually I have the list right here, and I don't see
Okay.
it anywhere.
yeah, I don't think any of us would have taken that. There was
Nope.
enough things that were left.
Well, it wasn't me. That's important. No, we're good.
No,
Yeah.
no one drafted it
And no one had it as
as a backup pick.
a
either.
backup,
No.
as a free agent. Okay, that's good.
This week, in Craig's watching week, well, I watched the episode of Hot Ones, that YouTube series with Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, the season
And
finale.
I have finally hit the point where I like Sean Evans infinitely more than the person sitting across the table from them.
You really didn't like ScarJo's.
She is a terrible interview. She's all over the place, number one, which I think is partially Sean Evans' fault because he's not a
He was probably staring at her like, "Holy shit!"
he's not
It's
a
ScarJo.
He's not a super strong interviewer to begin with, but
No.
he tends to keep most people relatively in check. But she was
Yeah.
just all over the place.
Yeah, he let her do
Yeah,
what. But in
pretty
his
much.
defense, she was probably the biggest superstar he's had on so far.
Probably,
Arguably.
it's hard to compete with that.
Yeah, like
Um,
she's about to be in the biggest movie of the year.
And then she like started off talking herself up about how she likes hot stuff and was really picky about wings, and like wings are on her rider. Thank you very much for throwing
yeah,
in
that
his
comment, I was like, oh, princess mode,
That's not
diva mode. Yeah,
necessary.
that's something I don't need to hear in an interview.
Yeah. You know, last time somebody talked about what was on the rider was when the rumor went around with Van Halen and their M&Ms. Since then, no one. And then she just fell apart towards the end of the interview. I didn't finish it.
No,
I got
did.
to the bomb and I was just like, forget it. I can't watch this anymore.
That's fair.
I
That's
feel
very
like
fair.
I didn't learn anything
Oh no,
from that interview at all. I don't want to know anything about the movie that's coming out. Like, you can just be like, oh yeah, we did a thing and it was great. But all of the other interviewers, eventually they get to the point where like they start to fall apart and you get some sort of insight from it. But not
Well, her
her.
falling-
It was just
I'm-
empty.
I'm guessing you popped off before she like literally stopped Sean and was like, okay, just ask me the question. No more of this. Just ask me the question.
I did. I obviously
okay.
missed that part.
Yeah, she pulled a little bit of a like very like she did not handle the last few very well whatsoever. And you could kind of tell her defenses were starting to come down, and she was trying to be like throw up new defenses to block up against that, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Like,
Like
her
she
new
was
defenses were completely random rather than just being quiet.
yeah,
Where other
so-
people will shut down entirely and you get nothing out of them towards the end.
Yeah, but yeah,
So
like, it was not one of the better ones. I'll
Yeah.
admit that.
I did not enjoy that episode.
Yeah, I didn't learn
Um,
anything either, so it's like, okay,
exactly,
Well, what's the
like,
point of that?
Great. So she's Scarlett Johansson. I knew that already.
Yeah, that's pretty
Literally
much what I
everything
learned.
about this interview I already knew.
Yeah, yeah. a little bit.
So then, other stuff I've watched. I watched some of Monty Python's Flying Circus because my brother is watching it.
Nice.
Some more television by osmosis. And then the last thing on my list is I was watching the Trailer Park Boys animated series again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, their celebrity pull is really impressive.
Oh, it's like, especially when, I don't know if you've gotten into the later seasons of their TV show.
No, I
but-
did not get that far.
Okay.
Not yet, at least.
They start getting some big ones like Snoop Dogg, Tom Arnold. Like, yeah, they get some pretty big.
Is
pulls.
Tom Arnold still considered like a big
That's
hit?
fa-
Well, he was.
I
from
mean,
the show.
In my
after
those two were the
Soul
same
Plane,
episode,
like,
so
does
the-
he really get to be considered a huge?
That's fair. That's
Draw.
fair. I'm just saying he was just on the same episode as Snoop
Like-
Dogg. That's just what stuck out to me. That's all.
Like, I feel like Tom Arnold is like the poor man's Drew Carey,
that's
who is like
that's.
at this
Who's
point
also, like,
he's just Drew Carey. Like,
Well, he's the stoner Drew Carey, because that's his thing now too. I don't know
Yeah.
if you knew that, but like he's got a big old podcast going on, or a radio show, or something like that. I don't know. I'll agree, not the biggest pull, but for the Trailer Park Boys audience, it fits. If that makes sense. For that demographic, they know who
I
Tom
accept
Arnold
it,
is.
but I'm just saying it's Tom Arnold.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's
I think people know more about the show Hey Arnold
That's
than they
fair.
do Tom Arnold.
Snoop is a lot higher up than Tom Arnold. They were just in the same episodes. That's why it came to mind first. I can't even think of, like, they've had Rush on. They've had the Hip, I think, Tragically Hip, right? That's a Canadian
Probably.
band, right?
That is a Canadian band, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was them. They've had a few of the big
Yeah.
big Canadian bands on like that, like, and they've played with them, and so yeah, does not surprise me that they had a few good ones for the animated series, especially since
Yes.
that's even easier to get people for. 'Cause, like,
Whether-
you won't have to fly to a set.
Whether they actually use the voices for them or not, I will continue to be a mystery because I'm not going to look it up.
That's fair.
But they had the band Helix, which is clearly the biggest band in Canadian history,
Clearly,
in their 10th episode
Allegedly.
of their of their animated series. And everybody knows you can't just call up the band Helix and get them to play unless their phone number is listed on the internet. But just a sidebar on Tom Arnold. I looked him up because I
he's on NCIS
I
for like 4 years.
didn't know who he was.
You didn't know who Tom Arnold was?
Nope, never heard of him before
Oh.
in my life. So
Wow. Okay,
I
well, that
Googled
just,
it.
Like,
He's still working like a motherfucker.
I
Yeah.
Googled him, and one of the you know how Google has this new thing where they're like, people also ask,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they make suggestions. The first one: why is Tom Arnold famous?
He was big in the, I would say, 90s, I guess? Early 2000s?
At first, Tom Arnold was largely known for his 4-year marriage to comedian Roseanne Barr. Over the years, however, he's been able to carve out a place for himself in film and television, playing a variety of roles. That is why Tom Arnold is famous. Tom
Well, see,
Arnold is famous because he was married to someone.
Well, I knew him from his movie roles first, in his defense. So, is he McHale's Navy? I think he's McHale's Navy. Can't remember now. Someone have the IMDb
Words.
up?
I don't know, but that's all I've got for what I watched this week.
That was very short.
I told you it was probably like a grand total of 2.5 hours of actual television time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Andrew,
Well,
what
do
did
you
you
have
watch?
do you have a long list or short list, Scott?
I've got 5.
Cool, so do I. I will take the reins.
Okay.
I watched Hellboy.
Yep. Same.
Surprise.
I watched Hellboy,
Oh,
Oh,
and I watched Hellboy: The Golden Army
nice. Okay.
in lead up for Hellboy.
Yeah.
All of them, I didn't hate watching any of them. I'll be honest. I like Hellboy. He's pretty badass, especially when he breaks off his fucking horns. I also watch Friends. I'm almost done. Thank God. That show is getting super tedious.
now you know why it was canceled.
Like, I feel like Ross has just become like a more educated Jerry Seinfeld. Rachel has annoyed me since day fucking 1. Phoebe, I'm just like, you're cute, but you're growing tiresome. Chandler and Monica, I'm like, why the fuck haven't you moved away yet? You're the only normal ones. Why haven't you moved away yet?
Well,
and then
that's
Joey is still
arguable
just a
that
big
they're
dumb
the-
motherfucker. God. And you never see Ben anymore. Ross is like the worst dad ever. Pops out a new kid, and then Ben just disappears. Teaches him about Hanukkah, and then you never see him again.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just watched an episode where Rachel and Joey start trying to get together. I'm like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
such an incestuous group. It's just as bad as How I Met Your Mother, if not worse.
It's a very common thing when you have a sitcom with a big ensemble like that, especially if it's right down the middle split, male to female or single
Yeah.
members amongst the groups.
Okay. Ross and Joey have both kissed everybody,
Yep.
and I think Chandler's done the same.
Yeah, he has.
Like-
He's kissed them all too.
Like they've all kissed each other.
Yep. At the
Like,
minimum.
which is weird considering two of them are related. Like they've
That
literally
hasn't stopped
kissed. Like
it, yep.
Ross has kissed every guy on the show.
Yep.
Joey's kissed everybody on the show. What in the fuck is going on? It's super overrated.
In their defense, one of the times, like a lot of that happened in one episode too, because there was a whole thing about Chandler kissing everybody because he was trying to hide the fact that he kissed Monica because they're still hiding their relationship.
Okay, well, even if you put him to the side,
Yeah.
it's just
No, it's
so
still very-
incestuous. Like
I just gotta defend Chandler because he's my man.
Chandler's my man. He's my favorite character.
Oh yeah, he's
But-
the best.
Like he's the only realistic person. And he has a day job. It's the
Well, that's what I
whole
was thinking.
show.
He's the only one with a real job for the
Yeah.
kind of though, because he still gets a lot of time off to go hang out at a coffee shop, and I'm like, I don't get to take that much time off. I guess I maybe could, but I'm just.
Well,
I
there's
feel
one
guilty.
episode where Joey calls him on it. I
Yeah.
forget who. Someone says something, and they're all like, we all hate our bosses. And then Joey's like, yeah, but it's also 11 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's
And
maybe.
they're all just like sitting around having coffee. And I'm
He's like, maybe it's because you're all sitting around in a coffee shop at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, and they're all like, oh yeah, we should get to work, and they all
Yeah,
pile up their
yeah.
stuff, and yeah, I remember. I know Friends way too well.
yeah, like it started off okay. I was on board. And then just some of my my favorite little side bits, they just disappeared. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, well, you have to remember this did
It's
take
not How I
place-
Met Your Mother.
It did
It's
take
not How I
place
Met Your
over
Mother.
10 years, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like not much changes over 10 years for them, though.
No,
like-
no, they don't progress very much with their lives.
No, they don't. Like, all of a sudden, Rachel just has disposable income. And I was like, oh, okay. Clearly, you're somehow saving lots of money in New York City.
Well, she did get
Okay.
they did address that. She did get the new job when she switched from what's
Yeah,
it called to
but-
what's it called.
They still spend like motherfuckers, too.
Oh, well, that's yeah, but
They live at a coffee shop. And they go on vacation every season. And they live in motherfucking New York City.
yeah. Well, they're in the rent control. That's why they stay in the same apartments the whole time because they got in during rent control or something like that.
Yeah, but that still doesn't change the fact that food costs a fortune. Transportation. Just
Well-
because Monica has a Porsche, I'm pretty sure they can't fit many groceries in that trunk. Sorry, Porsche.
Porsche. It's a Porsche. Now I'm just thinking of the episode where Joey's all dressed in all the Porsche
All dressed
stuff.
up,
Yeah.
and I forget what the comment was. He makes some kind of comment. Like only a crazy person would own Porsche stuff without owning a Porsche. And Chandler just gives him a look like, "You're almost there. keep
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
You got this. You got this."
But
And
he never gets there. He never gets
doesn't
there.
got this. So I have two other things left on my list.
Yeah.
One of them is I've been watching some baseball, and Lord, let me tell you, what in the holy shit is happening with the MLB right now?
You'd have to talk to
There's
Craig
so
about
many
that.
teams that I was like, you got this, and they don't got this. It's just bumming me out.
It's just sports in general. Have you seen the
Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, or the Pittsburgh Penguins? Two teams that are
Fuck,
supposed to be
fuck
all
the
right.
Pittsburgh Penguin. They can eat a big soggy asshole.
They
but-
did.
Yeah, clearly.
The
But
Islanders.
Tampa Bay, what the fuck? Yeah, the Islanders came out of fucking nowhere. Like, it's
The
been
Cubs
weird.
are winning right now, though.
How dare you? We don't talk about that. We let it happen. We don't talk about it because then bad things can happen.
5-0 in the top of the 7th. They're playing Miami. They'll be fine.
Well, there goes our lead.
Yeah. Jinx much.
Fuck.
Toronto's
damn it,
winning.
okay.
It's the bottom of the 1st. That's
Hold on
not going
tight.
to hold.
Hold on tight, Jays fans.
I love this update for our podcast listeners. It's going to be coming out like 4 days after this
Yeah, so
game's been played.
Wednesday, April 17th at
Things aren't going to change. You play every other
8:48
day, okay? Friday, Sunday. It makes sense. The only other thing I watched this week was Kendall got me watching Queer Eye.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Jonathan annoys the piss out of me.
Oh, it's better when he changes his facial hair.
What is the show actually about? I've never understood that.
It's okay. It's a makeover show.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy,
Correct.
except it's no longer just for the straight guy. Now it's more than just a makeover show.
Okay.
And I hated the first one, probably because I was like a preteen when it was on TV.
Well, yeah, that was.
I remember watching it being like, I don't get it. Why do these guys suck? Not the gay guys. I'm talking about the people who dress like shit.
Yeah, I
Whose
never
lives
understand
were
how people
messes who
don't know how to
needed to be
dress
like
properly.
redone.
Yeah.
I remember watching them and being like, man, how does your life get that bad? Like, fucking have a shower, cut your hair once in a while, put on a collared shirt. There you go. Problem motherfucking solved.
It's that simple. Don't wear all black T-shirts and sweatpants.
Oh, you
all the
only
time.
own exercise clothes? Why?
Why-
has no one in your
Wait.
life course corrected you?
And why is that you only own exercise clothes but never go to the gym?
Yeah.
Because they're comfortable.
Like, and I noticed everyone on this show was referred, at least for the men anyways, they were all referred by wives or girlfriends or friends who had money
Yeah.
or knew better and just didn't say anything. Like
Yeah.
inviting 5 fucking strangers into your house and forcing them to or like having them force you to change some stuff is a lot easier than sitting down and saying, "Honey, I know you've been going through some stuff. I know you lost your job. I know you've been moderately depressed, but I think if we go out and we buy some fresh food, and maybe if we put some light paint in the living room instead of having a fucking deer head staring at you with black shit, and then really dark drapes, and then a coffee table that has a huge crack in the glass, and the cat piss smelling couch is still here. Maybe if we change some of that, things will be good." And they don't. And I think a lot of it is just like, well, why would we spend our money? Why wouldn't we just submit to this and hopefully they'll come spend their money and redo our lives
That's
for
definitely
us?
part of it. Like if you're
And that makes me mad. Like, if I have to save up to buy shit, all of these other motherfuckers, like, you shouldn't get pampered for being a fuck up.
Well, it's. I agree, but at the same time, it's not like this is like a charity or like the government's giving out this stuff. It's a TV show. It's a big corporation giving
I'm
them
just
money
saying,
to just.
where's my free stuff?
Well,
Okay.
you have to apply for it. You got to go on TV shows. You got to put yourself.
Who's
out there.
gonna nominate me? I have my shit together. Are you guys gonna nominate me? Are you gonna tell me my hair looks like shit? Are you gonna tell me I dress like shit?
Well, no. Well, which show do you want to be on? You want to be on?
I want to be on this one.
Okay, so you
Canada's
want-
worst drivers.
How dare you? Just because I drive like an old person. Have I even been in one accident? Have I killed you guys even once?
Yeah.
Even once.
I didn't say anything about your driving.
I just came up with a show for you to be on.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other Canadian like shows where you could get free stuff that he could like do, and I'm like, well, you can't do Amazing Race. He has a small business to run. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I
like,
can't just disappear
that's
for
what
that.
I mean. So it's like a lot of them you're out of the thing because you can't take a whole 2 months off. So I think like game show or reality. Yeah, so
There's nothing.
yeah, we're gonna go with makeover show, but you already know how to dress properly. You helped
That's
teach
what I'm
me.
saying.
So I don't know what to tell you. Like some people just like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to figure.
Anyways, Jonathan annoys me, but he also knows what he's talking about, so I'll give him credit where it's due.
Fair.
And I think a lot of it's just that he says honey so often, and I just hate terms of endearment being used for people who you're not in an intimate relationship with.
He
That's-
throws those
Craig and I
around all
talked
the
about
time.
this the other
He
day.
throws them around all the time.
Yeah. you got this, honey. Like, okay, I get it. Like, if you want to say you go, girl, all the time, fucking all the power to you. Just please don't call people honey. Nothing makes me more uncomfortable than when I go grocery shopping and someone who isn't the age of my mother calls me honey while I'm cashing out. Yeah. Especially if you're younger than me. If you're younger than me and you call me hun, love, darling, honey, sweetheart, what in the shit are you doing?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
This is a PSA for I'm too old for you.
Too old
and
for
also,
that
what the fuck is going on? You can't be 18 and calling me darling, love, honey, huns. Like, no. No, you can't.
I am sir to you, ma'am.
Yeah, like, then it's sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I own a small business. Thank you.
I have earned the right to be called sir. I vote. I pay taxes.
Or you can call me Lord just because, well, why not? My
Call me Lord Emperor.
I'd rather be just... No, I agree. I've been called hun a couple times by, like, women who I've taken out on a date. And I'm like, oh, you're not getting a second date now. Because it's like, well, no.
Now I feel like I'm dating my mom.
Yeah,
Thanks.
This is weird. Like, it puts a weird dynamic. Because my grandmother used to say that to me. So it's like, well, you shouldn't be giving me the same nickname that my grandmother once would say. Or...
I don't like guys calling me Bud. My grandfather's name was Bud. I'm not my grandpa.
That's fair.
So don't call me Bud.
I've tried to like lessen that because I found people don't like that. Apparently, I thought it was endearing.
But I don't like women who aren't my mother or Kendall using like I think I would actually almost be more comfortable with a random stranger calling me babe. Like, I feel like I would be more comfortable with, like, you got it, babe. Because I'd be like, oh, she thinks I'm cute. But when you call me, like, hun, sweetheart, like, all those ones, like,
it's patronizing. Patronizing?
Like, see, I look at it and I think of it as, like, it's more intimate. Like, it's more of a loving pet name.
Well,
whereas babe, it's like, I feel like you're just utilizing me for my body.
Interesting. Well, that's how I feel is like when somebody uses it who you don't have that connection with, it's like, that's weird. You're overstepping. It's like like hugging too soon. It's like, well, no, I don't know you well enough. Don't be using hun. It's like when some people call me Scotty too soon. I'm like, we don't know each other long enough for you to earn the Y on the end of that, or the IE, depending on how you like to go about it.
Or the EY, if you're crazy.
If you're ridiculous.
Scotty.
Yeah, I was just thinking, how would that even... Because that would change because of the double T, wouldn't it? I don't know.
Well, Scotty don't know.
Let's not do that, please. I did so much of high school with that song.
That's fair.
Most of society has forgotten about it for the most part. Not completely. Yeah, we're back. Okay.
Working on it, though.
Oh, I'm still talking, so it's okay. But it's much for what we watched this week. Okay, so I had some stuff. I had American Gods,
Scott?
Which we had Mr. Ian McShane this
there we
time
go.
singing a couple times.
Yeah, there you go. You froze out for a sec.
This is just great.
It looked like you were taking a
I just got
dump.
back from Hellboy. I put it on. I'm like, oh, more Ian McShane. And then he's singing.
Yes, it is.
And it was great. He had owned a burlesque club at some point in like the 40s. Yeah. Yeah, I got to start watching Deadwood next because I'm like, oh, Ian McShane. Love him. So yeah, I watched that. I also watched the season finale of the Grand Tour, season 3.
That's awesome because he also owned a
Scott
saloon in the Wild Wild West in Deadwood.
They teased that they were that this was the last episode in a sense, and they show a whole 5-10 minute montage being like, "Thank you for all this time. We've been doing it for 17 years." They got clips from the BBC and everything from their old show, right? And it's like, oh damn, they're retiring. I'm never gonna get any more Top Gear. So I was emotional. And then at the end of that montage, they come back, and they're like, "Well, we're not completely going away." And I'm like, "Wait, what? You tell me you were going away? You showed me all that emotion, and they're coming back. They're just not doing so. Like the way the show was before is they'd have like a tent, and they'd have a whole like studio audience. They're just not doing the studio audience part anymore. They're just doing like their trips around the world. It's kind of getting turned into a car/travel show, because that's their most popular episodes is when they just take a couple random cars and then just go drive across the country, and it's like. Those are my favorite times because it's just these three guys just failing to get across the country. Trying to go 1,000 kilometers in just beat up old cars that they've all picked up. And yeah, so that's what they're going to be doing more going forward. So I was happy to hear that they're continuing, but I was also a little like, You dicks. You guys literally made my heart start like beating. Like I felt like somebody almost in my life had passed away. It was terrible. It was a lot of emotion for just a TV show, but I'm glad it's still going to be around. So yeah, I watched that. I watched both the John Wick movies because the third one comes out next month, and I saw the trailer when I was watching Hellboy, so I was like, oh, I'll watch the first two. And John Wick 2 is being taken off Crave on the 11th of this month, and it was the 13th, and it was still on there, so I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this before you guys get to that.
So they couldn't take John Wick 2 off of Crave, but Netflix figured out how to take New Girl off a day before it should have been.
Yep. That was another reason I thought to mention it too.
Why couldn't New Girl be on Crave?
Well, I can't speak to you. Might be able to get that through like
Netflix
Stars.
is a bunch of bitches.
But yeah, so I watched the 2 John Wicks, and then the last thing I watched was the new season, the season premiere of Game of Thrones this past week. I know you two don't care particularly about it, but
Not even.
yeah, and this episode wouldn't have got you guys into it. It was a little bit boring for a season premiere.
I honestly, a couple weeks ago, tried to do like season 6, which I was told by my apprentice that it was his favorite season, and I was just like, I fucking hate this show.
Yeah, no,
This show does nothing
no,
for
I get
me.
that.
And I sat through all of Spartacus and felt like I left with something. Game of Thrones has done sweet piss all for me.
No, that's fair. And like you can't jump into it. That's what I was just thinking. Like him telling you the 6th season is the best is like telling somebody that Infinity War is the best Marvel movie and they've never seen a MCU movie. It's like, well, it's good for somebody who's already part of the universe. It's not for a newbie. So that's where.
Did you see Captain America Winter Soldier?
Yeah, like do you even know why Cap or why Iron Man's a little weird about calling Cap right away? Like, no, but yeah, so yeah, I get why it's not for you two. And I think it's mainly just cuz I get that. I can't figure out a character who any of you guys would connect to, and that's mainly what the show is about and why most people like it is they like one or two of the characters and they want to see that go through. And I can't think of any of them that you two would be appealed to, except for Peter Dinklage. His character is pretty funny, but
I heard his character's not bad.
he's great because he's a short dude in this
Yes.
in this world where no one's afraid to make fun of dwarves. Like.
I think that's just his life, though.
But that's what I mean. He gets to like.
Just with more swords,
But
hopefully.
it's also like before PC culture, and it's a little bit more like with the swords.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more like his father hates him for being a dwarf, right? So you get that like relationship between them. He ends up killing his own father, So it's his character's great, but at the same time, it's like you have to deal with 8 other characters' storylines too, just to get the Peter Dinklage storyline. So I get why you guys aren't the biggest fan of it, but yep, that's all I watched this week. So I think we're at the end, aren't we?
There we go. We did it, guys. We did it.
We made it to the end.
Approximately a 45-minute episode.
That's not bad. That's
The way the good Lord meant it to be.
That's pretty good.
So,
All right.
yeah.
We'll talk to everybody next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Absolutely. Au revoir. Happy Easter.
Bye.
Unless you're Greek, then it's the week after. Bye.
In which case, Happy Easter in Greek.
All right. Happy Easter in Greek. Bye.
Bye.